Hey guys, this is Chris from Deus Ex Machina, and I'm with.
Dave from Rampant Wolf Games.
Now, here we are to talk about games that should not exist. Now, I made a point when we established this list, and I think we kind of made a good balance that these are not games that are necessarily bad. We have other lists for that. We could just say the top 5 worst games, but these are games that should not exist for a variety of political, personal, or business reasons.
Correct.
Number 5 on that list of games that should not exist is Go-Go Eskimo. I thought we reached that point where we didn't have Custer's Last Stand, where we didn't have incredibly inappropriate names.
I mean, that's like saying, yo, man.
Yeah, we won't say that. But
I was going to say, just have you like bleep and cut to black for a second.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But the fact that it's called Go-Go Eskimo, that you have meeples that are Eskimos, that I might add are also pure white.
So, Gods of Egypt again.
Yeah, which is weird. I just watched that movie again. I literally watched Gods of Egypt yesterday. But yes, and it's Reiner Knizia. Like,
Right.
he should know better. Like, this was definitely a game done by.
But really, honestly,
Actually, he shouldn't
that's
know
kind
better.
of a German last name, isn't
Yeah,
it?
when you get down to it, it deals with Europeans that don't fully understand.
Or maybe this is just kind of maybe they're just I'm taking hold of that Trumpism right now, where it's just like, it's okay to be racist.
No, I wouldn't even say that. I think it's
old German guy just designing a board game. I'm going to make it racist.
No, I don't think it's that
Russian,
bad. I don't think it comes down to that. I think it comes down to them simply being naive and unaware of the cultural issues that are with that name, and they should have done their research. So that's number 5. Go-Go Eskimo.
Coming in at number 4 for games that should not exist. This one should not exist because it has a superior game in the same line, which is
There's actually a couple of games that are like that.
Yeah, and that one is Whitehall Mysteries.
And the better game is
Letters from Whitechapel. So again, you're tracking down Jack the Ripper, which is a favorite topic of mine. But the whole thing behind it is that when they tried to bottle this down and distill it and make it smaller, they made the game enjoyment smaller. There was no point in doing that. I know why they did it.
They want to release another game.
They wanted something for the lower player counts, because for whatever reason 4 seems to be the magic number these days. God, I hate that number. But anyways, it didn't need to happen. They had a superior game. It was a pure money grab on my part, or sorry, on their part by Fantasy Flight. It was like I still. It didn't need to happen. It was like, it was the Ford Escort of like sedans. They already had the Taurus. They didn't need the Escort.
No. That I would disagree. The Escort fills a very nice niche. It's like what's a good example? It would be. I'm trying to find an automotive version of that, because there actually isn't, because almost everyone. It's one of those situations where there's a Ford Escort that got made as a stopgap measure. Like, there was a Ford Escort that everyone knows, and then there was a Ford Escort SC2 or SC1 that came out, and it was a 2-door coupe version.
Oh, it's like making the Dodge SX 2.0 when they already had the Neon. It's the same thing.
Well, no, what they did is they rebranded the Neon as the SX 2.0. Which I think the Neon was a better name anyway. So that's number 4, Whitehall Mysteries.
Yeah. Going into number 3 is Golem Arcana. Now, this one shouldn't exist.
I gotta mention, this is hilarious. Golem Arcana's website is now unlisted.
Really?
The GolemArcana.com is for sale. If you enter Golem Arcana in Google, the first is the Board Game Geek. The second is the site link for sale.
Wow. So this game had heavy app integration, which it was before its time. It was the help me out here. What's the tape cassette thing? What's it called?
8-track?
No, the one that was for VHS. What was the other thing?
See? GolemArcana.com for sale.
Wow. What was the
Betamax?
That's it. It was the Betamax of board games. It shouldn't have came out when it did. It was ahead of its time, and it was a superior product to what some of the games that are out right now. But because of when it came out, everybody was just like, I don't want an app integrated game. App integrated game.
We've said that some of the really popular app integrated games that are out right now would have bombed 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Golem Arcana needed to come out. And I think it was, we were mentioning you mentioned Whitehall Mysteries, and Whitehall Mysteries is a place marker for other game like Dual Sorrow Island, where there's a much better, larger version of it that I would always rather play. And Golem Arcana is kind of a place marker for other app games, including World of Yoho and other games that were fantastic in concept. They came out too soon, and now they would be embraced by the masses because app integration is becoming so much more popular.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is too bad too, because I always saw Golem Arcana for sale. I was like, oh, that seems interesting. Well, that seems interesting, and I never really got into it because I was just like, I saw a giant miniature and got kind of turned off. I was like, oh, it's one of those games. I always thought it was an expansion for something.
Yeah.
Because that big miniature was always kind of dominant, so I thought it was like it was an expansion for something.
Yeah.
So that was number 3, Golem Arcana.
Going into number 2
is Carcassonne Winter Edition for games that should not exist. Now, this has nothing against Carcassonne as a franchise, and it has everything to do with the way companies re-release and constantly suck a franchise dry. This includes the multiple reskinnings of Risk, the multiple reskinnings of Clue, the multiple reskinnings of Monopoly. They don't add any new mechanics except with a few exceptions. They don't really spend a lot of time with their production design. But in the case of the Carcassonne Winter Edition, it's not like when they did the Star Wars Carcassonne. They played with it. It was interesting. But the Carcassonne Winter Edition doesn't change a single rule. No. It simply changes the season from summer to winter. It does nothing else. And they charge a full price game for that for the Winter Edition, even though they knew perfectly well not a single new rule. And they said this is a place marker. You can run a list of games that are reskinned. If you walk through a calendar store, half of their game store is just reskinning. Yeah. There is a Stranger Things Ouija board game. It's a Ouija board in every respect, except it has a Stranger Things branding on it. And it's a few dollars more because it's Stranger Things. If it was a brand, but this is not even a brand. It's not even Carcassonne Stranger Things. It's just Carcassonne. How's that to white?
Yeah, at least Catan tried to do something better. Like the Catan...
Star Trek has new rules.
And Catan and different boards. And the Catan Game of Thrones actually has an actual wall in it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
There's some people who made the effort, but then they're the ones that don't make the effort. The Winter Edition example that doesn't make the effort. So yeah. That's number 2. Carcassonne Winter Edition.
All right, you may as well just roll right into number 1.
So number 1 for games that should not exist is This War of Mine. And this is a place marker as well for what we think are games that have a good idea and concept, and they should exist in some capacity, not as a retail game. They should be an art exhibit, something teachers whip out to show students. It should not have been a retail title because it breaks rules, fundamental rules about gameplay.
Well, and also breaks your soul.
Yes, but I added this one specifically for one because you had a similar title on our larger list, Santorini. Now, Santorini is another game we dislike for almost similar reasons because it doesn't belong on a shelf for sale. It should be something. It should be one of those things you reprint and large mass, and you give it out to teachers at a teacher conference saying, hey, teach your students spatial awareness with Santorini. Hey, teach some students in history class the horrors of war in a board game format, right? Make it in such a way that the game is unwinnable and make it that they can't survive, where they have to see the atrocities of war by playing the characters in it. It's not a good game. It's more random and more brutal and more difficult than a far superior video game. As said in my review, 11-Bit Studios couldn't help themselves. They made a good game. They made it addicting. They made it fun. They made it so you could cheese it and you could have fun with it and you could survive. I literally, I think I've lost twice in like 140 hours of gameplay. Santorini is slightly different. Santorini is just thin on game.
Oh yeah. Not to mention production quality.
Well, now the new retail version is not as nearly as good as the original.
Yeah.
So that's our place marker. Games that should not be games. In this War of Mine, it could have been a game, just not this one.